You know, it's been a minute since I've been on Sportswire Radio. Maybe you thought I gave up. Maybe you thought I had nothing left to talk about. Maybe you thought, well, I lost my voice. Well, have no fear. I'm back. And I'm back, let's just say, with vengeance. In prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and all wrestling matters. And our guest here, you might want to say, has been a very, very busy man of late. And he's going to talk about this past Friday. We saw his stepdad have the moment of his career, the night of his career. And could we be seeing next Saturday the Flag Boy have the night of his career, the match of his career? Boy, almost like father, like son. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Or I should say, like stepfather and stepson. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll definitely talk about what's going on there in the world of, I don't know, UWC. We'll talk about GTS. We'll talk about definitely plenty of the DAWG dog wrestling, where we're going to talk about that match with an OVW guy. We're going to talk about a former Ring of Honor guy that's going to be there on the card, and we're going to talk about a slew of other topics. Now, I know that our guest hasn't been here before, but I do things a little differently. Now, I know most shows, they say, well, it was very nice to meet the Devil Child Connor Shaver / the Flag Boy. We do it a little differently here on Sportswire Radio because people expect a lot more from me. And I've got something for you, but I'm going to tell you what that is in a little while. But because I see the chat is now coming in, I see that obviously you're here waiting. And, since I do see that one of your stepdads is here, it is time now to start the show in style. In the famous words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, and start this show in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one Gable Roadshow. He's wrestling's premier stepson. He's a man that you've seen him in places such as GTS, UWC, and most importantly, dog wrestling. And yeah, he had a magical moment appearance at Matt Pro Wrestling this past Friday. They sometimes call him a flag boy, but his name is simply put, the Child. My friend, how are we doing?
Man, Fantastic. After that, you got me hyped. I'm going. Blood's pumping. I'm excited, man.
Oh, you've been in some places. You know, you obviously got a big match in your own right. You saw what Rad did with Darius Carter. You've been on GTS. I mean, so you know you get it. You've been around a little bit
Oh
here so
yeah.
far. You're a South Jersey guy. I mean, so you know what time
Oh
it
yeah.
is.
Through and through, man. I'm booked 6 times this month. First time in my life. It's going
Wow.
up, baby. We're going
Well, we're
up.
gonna talk about that in a minute. Boy, I mean, that almost totally changed what I was going to ask you. But it is great to meet you. Obviously, credit to one of your stepdads, Mr. Rad Dad Bradley Belmont, who certainly had, the night of his career, and that's certainly saying a lot. And I guess then maybe I will start in a different way because I was going to open up with Rad, but I'm going to wait for a few minutes on that because for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you and certainly the stepdads most certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio, you just told us you're booked not once, not twice, not three, not four, not five, but 6 times here coming up this month, and you got to talk about that.
Oh yeah, outrageously. So two of the bookings
Wow.
aren't necessarily going to be me. So it's cosplay wrestling out in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'm used as Mario, like Mario and
Wow.
Luigi.
It's funny you said that because Saturday on my show, I had my guest Chris Phoenix, the rare bird. Yes, he was a rare bird, and he was booked in a show in Pennsylvania for Excel Wrestling, which is run out of the Express Wrestling Building. I'm not sure if you know them in Pittsburgh. And he was booked, well, they had him as Freddy Krueger. So it was Friday the 13th.
Gotcha.
Get it? So
That's awesome. I love the
yeah,
type of stuff like that. It's so fun. It really is. So that's two of my days,
that's
which
pretty cool,
obviously
though.
we'll take it.
What's that like? I mean, you're going to be
So
Mario.
So the thing about that is, I've done it before, but as Deadpool, and that was
Oh, wow. Okay.
fantastic. It was so fun. I don't even know if the videos have come out from it. Like I have fan cam footage, but like I'm
Okay.
not sure if anything's come out from that. But it's such a fun time, such great people. It's such a fun experience for sure.
That's interesting that you play something different than what we'll talk about here over the next hour or so. I mean, so what does that do in terms of how it helps you elsewhere?
Oh, I mean, outrageously, obviously, anywhere is fantastic for reps, but I think the
Sure,
biggest thing for me is stepping out of my comfort zone and being someone else.
sure.
Obviously, like you've told them, I have basically three characters. I'm the stepson, I'm the devil child, and I'm the flag boy. So obviously, I'm out there. I've got a lot of different characters, a lot of different like kind of sides to me. So I
Hmm.
think that only helps, and it kind of makes me understand different roles better.
Now, you being the flag boy last week was Flag Day, so did you do anything particularly
You
special
know
for
what? I went
that?
outside in my
I'm
front
sure
yard
you've
and I
gotten asked
waved
that
my
already. Yeah.
flag.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been asked that probably last week. I should have had you on during Flag Day because that would have been the Flag Boy, would have been a great plug. But clearly, I missed that one because I'm a dunce. It's just that was over.
Yeah.
That's on me.
It was marked on my calendar. I don't know about yours, but I was ready for
Yeah,
Flag Day.
you know what? I should use a calendar. I work for politicians, and they actually gave me calendars to hand out to constituents, and I didn't hand out one to myself. But I'll go back to that 6 times. You obviously are starting out here, and you're relatively new to the wrestling world, but that's got to be a big confidence boost to go out there and wrestle as many times as you're about to coming up.
Oh yeah, of course. Like I've wrestled 6 times in a month at GTS, but it's a certain thing when you're getting brought in by a company. It's a completely different feeling. You're in front of a huge crowd. I mean, like the atmosphere is amazing, and to have that, honestly, on one of the days is June 28th. I'm actually running a double shot, so I'm running the cosplay wrestling
And
and
then you're
then
doing.
having my match with the Get
Oh, we're
Bundles.
going to talk about that. We're going to definitely, there's a lot to say on that. So, I mean, that's exciting. You're doing two in one day. Boy, I've talked to some guys in the UK that have done that. And hopefully you can make it distance time.
Oh yeah, which should be good. Cosplay pro wrestling runs earlier in the day, so
Okay.
it's a little hike. It's about a little bit over an hour in between the two, but I should have enough time for sure.
Let me ask you this question. Obviously, Papa Bear and Rad Dad, obviously, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, especially what Rad did and, wrestling Darius Carter and defeating them. Have you asked them for advice on how to, pull this off and such as 6 times in a month? I know you said GTS, and we'll definitely talk GTS and shout out to everybody that's there from the GTS world that shared on X other places. But have you asked them for advice in terms of getting yourself ready for this?
Outrageously, like for in everything. I mean, these guys are vets. They're fantastic.
Absolutely.
They've been around. Everyone seems to love them. I love them,
Yeah.
obviously. I let them adopt me. But, like, outrageously, these guys have been there. They've been somewhere, they've been around, and they certainly had to know how to get their way around. And honestly, being with them has just it's rocket shipped me to the top. I honestly
Oh,
couldn't
yeah,
like
definitely.
ask for more from
I
them.
mean,
They're
Rad to
fantastic.
me, in my 6.5 years in doing this, Rad is one of the most beloved figures on my platform. One of the people that I, have on here, and it's sentimental for certain people that he comes on here. So he means so much because of obviously, he's one of these guys that started out in the backyard wrestling circuit and has moved his way up. And Friday might have been the icing on the cake of his career and such, and where he's going. And I want to segue into that because obviously you were there at Mad Pro Wrestling this past Friday, and what a night it was for your stepdad. And just talk to me about being there and just that photo I'm going to put up that just really, to me, probably 15 years in the making, 16 years in the making for Rad Dad Radley Belmont, and talk about how proud you were of one of your stepdads, Rad Dad Radley Belmont, this past Friday, sir.
Man, I gotta say, well, one shout out to Ray Morris. That venue was fantastic. He put on an amazing show.
Hmm.
Just for what that meant to Rad, even going into it, I've known something like that has been a moment that Rad's wanted for a while. Like we connected instantly as soon as I met him. Fantastic guy. So just knowing him for all this time and knowing how much something like that meant to him, I could see it building up as the day went on. Him slowly getting himself ready for that, and then not only did that match happen that we'll talk about, but beforehand he had a tag team championship match
Yes,
that
yes,
he
we talked a little bit about that when he was here a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
so beforehand, right before that match with the Darius Carter, he wrestled
Yeah,
an entire tag team
I have
championship
a
match.
Darius Carter story. Actually, I thought about Rad Dad, and I didn't tell this to anybody yet because I was walking. This was actually that. No, it was the day before. I was thinking about Rad Dad. He wrestled that Friday. Thursday, there was a poster in my neighborhood actually that had Darius Carter on it for the next night. He wrestled in Staten Island at the Warriors of Wrestling show. And my first thought was Rad Dad. And it was just like one of those things you just, the stars, certainly, align. And what a small world. And Darius, I know through Pro Wrestling Magic. I had Steve off on many years ago. And that's where Darius has made his home on and off for a very long time. So for sure.
Oh yeah, outrageously. It's just the craziest thing was to see the nerves just like settle away when he got into his zone because him and his zone is a completely different animal. There's absolutely no one that I know that pushes to that limit as much as he does. So it's just in the sense of he had that match against South Philly's finest, which are no pushovers. They're
For
not
sure.
pushovers at all. Those are just some
Definitely.
really tough guys. Obviously, they had some backhanded tactics, but at the end of the day, they pulled through. And now I had to tend to Papa Bear Wade Kruger. I had to go to the back, and man, it just looked like Brad was absolutely decimated on the ground. It was slim
Hmm.
pickings for Darius Carter. I mean, he strolled in like he already won the match. And to be fair, Rad was face down on the mat. He looked done. But the one
Yeah.
thing about Rad is you do not underestimate that grit that he has. I mean, I've seen videos of him coming from the yard, the moves he's taken. That that match was nothing. He was fine. He was on the ground, obviously, but Darius Carter, I think, fantastic wrestler. But
Yeah, Darius
I
he is a guy. He's a man that's regularly been in the not only the PWI 500, but in the upper half of it. I mean, a guy.
oh,
When you think about this, and I'm sure you heard what Rad and I talked about when Rad was here a couple of weeks ago, and you think about where Darius Carter is ranked in the PWI 500. It's not like he's ranked 490 or 480, which is, again, you make it. It doesn't matter where you make it. If you think about guys outside of WWE, AEW, TNA, you want to throw in MLW, ROW, or ROW, and he's probably one of the highest ranked wrestlers not to be in a major company. And Rad Dad went out and defeated him. I think that that's certainly quite an accomplishment.
oh yeah, there's something about being the right person on the right day at the right time that really makes things pay off. And man, was that Rad. He is one tough guy, but that was his moment and he proved that.
Yeah, he was talking about. I know when he was here, he was talking about an injury that he had been dealing with, and he's obviously had to wrestle differently with that style. And you can see the poster. And again, I mean, this is a guy, as I stated, that when you think about independent wrestlers, Darius Carter is probably like one of the best in the United States. In the Northeast, he might be the best. Because I stated that I have seen this man in posters in Staten Island and Brooklyn. And very few wrestlers I catch attention with. And obviously, Rad did that. I mean, so what does that do for you seeing in your career what Rad did? Because certainly you've got a match here coming up we're going to talk about in a few minutes. So seeing that, how does that motivate you here coming up?
Man, seeing him like persevere through all the lights and all the pressure and everything that was piled on top of him, seeing him overcome all of that just absolutely makes me want to push through. And regardless of whatever name that dog continues to throw at me, just to keep pushing because it's gonna happen. There's gonna be that day where Connor gets one of these big behemoth men that have been somewhere and takes them down like it's nothing. Oh,
Well,
that picture.
certainly we definitely want people to go out and give the stepdads and give Connor a follow, and certainly the companies that they represent. What was that like also being a part of Matt Pro Wrestling? Obviously, we spoke about how important it was what they're doing for autism, and in the grand scheme of things, June is Men's Mental Health Month. Obviously, autism is something that impacts a lot of people, whether they know it or not, family, loved ones, people. It's, something that is, people really, really do, I think, have a soft spot for. So what was that like for you being a part of that and with the company like this that's doing this for a good cause?
Honestly, like it was a little bit deeper for me. So I have two siblings that are special needs, my brother and my sister. So just like wrestling for a company that's got that much of an awareness and that much of a cause towards something like that, that obviously affects my life and is in my life all the time, was
Hmm.
absolutely fantastic. Like the length like that he goes, obviously, like a lot of his company is based around his brother. Um, just Ray Ray is a fantastic guy. Obviously, he's got fantastic motives, great wrestler as well. And honestly, working on a card like that, I was surrounded by a ton of people that I really love being around. And honestly, like that is just the greatest thing to walk into a locker room and just be like, wow, this is going to be a fantastic night. Or to walk in and see a venue and say, oh man, I'm going to tear the roof off this place because like that setting was just it might have been my number one venue I've ever wrestled in.
Wow.
Man, it's like a whole theater setting. It's like a studio setting, like an
Oh, okay.
NWA
That's
type.
I was gonna say that.
Fantastic.
You're gonna say basically the words right out of my mouth. It's like an NWA, old school territory vibe.
Yeah, and I mean, like obviously, if you could tell me and Brad being so close, we're like I might be young, but I'm very much an old school style guy. So seeing that NWA
Well,
type
you're
stuff
here.
just
If
blew
you're
me
close
apart.
to Rad, you're hearing a lot of WCW references. You're hearing a lot of NWA references. So you've probably got the whole, all shebang pretty much in your head, pretty much memorized.
All over, it's that and a whole bunch of Matt Morris.
Well, he's in Best in the Yard coming up here this weekend. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, he's at Best in the Yard and he's at Chase Wakefield's Wedding Invitational. So yeah, Matt DeMorris is a legend. But I do want to, before I go do some other things, please give Connor a follow. He's on Instagram. He's on X. Please check out the stepdads. Please support those that support us. And shout out again to Matt Pro Wrestling. And it's really
Cool.
great to hear because a lot of times people hear different things and they always hear about wrestling drama. They always hear about this and that. They hear just all the problems in the world, or they hear just this rhetoric and backstage stuff, and especially also what's going on in the world where it just seems like people just can't get on the same page. To see an event like this do so well and do it for the right reasons is really great. And I highly encourage people to support Mad Pro Wrestling, and let alone certainly the stepdads and obviously their stepson, who's the devil's child, but sometimes is the flag boy, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here. But obviously, let me ask you this question before I make the hockey transition into the match that you could very well be having of your career to almost replicate your stepdad. What are your goals here coming up for the rest of the year?
Oh man, my goals. Let's see. So I did win my first match in dog finally. Took a while.
Okay,
So
good.
I defeated V Daniel at one of our live events, and that was, I think, what I hope is the trampoline to the top. Because so for a while, do you know the old ECW referee Jim Molyneux?
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah,
I had Gary Wolf on here, so yeah, I've heard
gotcha.
ECW.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically he was the dog matchmaker,
Oh
and
wow, okay.
for the longest time he was putting me against these big guys, these big names to kind of like push me because they apparently see something in me that
Well, I mean, you
yeah.
have stepdad, so yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
wrestling's premier stepson, so yeah, why wouldn't they?
So they've thrown Tank Toland at me, who was formerly
Yes.
one of the dicks in WWF.
Yep.
Honestly, great guy. He beat the crap out of me, but you know, it happens
Don't
sometimes.
feel too bad. I've been running into this in my neighborhood on and off for the past year. I mean, basically to the point I'm carrying tasers, stun guns, maces. So yeah, so I feel your pain.
Yeah, of course. Like I've you know, they've tried to put me up against Wrecking Ball Legursky. I was
Okay. Yeah,
injured
I've
because
definitely heard of him. Yeah, I've heard of him.
I had a match with Falaba,
Oh
and
wow, okay.
when he came down on my shoulder was too high up, and I
Oh.
actually partially tore one of the ligaments in my labrum.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
why
that
I
put
don't
me
try
out
this
for a
at
little
home.
bit. Yeah,
That's gotta hurt. So are you trying to mimic Rad's shoulder pain or what?
I mean, hey, yeah, it's a little bit of an underdog story, you know.
Well, I mean, that's a serious injury though, a labrum injury.
Oh yeah, yeah, it took me out. I don't tell my doctors, but I might have come back a little bit early.
Well, I mean, that's obviously something you've been dealing with. So going with these goals that you have, you obviously want to go and wrestle different places. But let me ask you something because you talked about an injury. You're going to wrestle 6 times here coming up, or have wrestled in between that period. So we're kind of in that phase. So how are you dealing with this injury while trying to wrestle as much as you have? Because that's obviously a big risk.
So, I mean, a whole lot of self-care for sure. If you're not taking care of yourself, that's a big thing. But at the same time, like, obviously, I have to preserve myself inside of matches, outside of matches,
Hmm.
because honestly, if you're not, even if you're not hurt as a wrestler, you've got to be taking care of yourself because
Hmm.
you're getting slammed, you're getting tossed around, you're getting hit in the face. And man, I mean, it takes a lot out of me. I'm literally feeling my shoulder right now. So, I mean, I'll throw the brace on when I'm feeling it a little bit, but at the same time, if I feel like I couldn't go, I wouldn't go, and Brad wouldn't either. But hey, you're never wrestling as 100% as a wrestler, and if you're taking time off and you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And I never want to be getting worse.
But let me ask you though, you're an up and coming wrestler still. You've obviously got a little bit of experience, but Rad, I understand when he's going out there and talking about, I don't know if this is going to be where if I miss this, am I going to get another shot or am I going to get another break? So I understand the urgency. I understand kind of fighting through the pain because he's a veteran at this point in his career. That's pretty much where he's at in his career. But for you, I mean, you're a younger wrestler. Why not just take your time, heal as long as possible, and come back at full strength, 100%? Because again, you're a young guy and you got plenty of opportunities. Whereas I understand, like I said, a guy like Rad, not to say that he's on the second half of his career, but he's certainly a veteran wrestler where maybe every match or every opportunity you get means more. So why fight through this and just go out there instead and be 100%, then go out and do it.
I'd say the biggest thing for me is if I phone it in and I give myself that grasp, I'm gonna end up like all these people that have talked to me and I've heard about that say, "Oh, you know, I could have made it this far, but I didn't push through this, or I didn't take this opportunity when I should have." And I want to be the ultimate opportunist. I want to wrestle in as many places as possible, as much as possible. And that's because like I've played sports all throughout my life. I'm an ultimate gamer. Like working
What'd
through
you play?
injuries
What
is
sports
nothing.
did you play for the audience?
So I
What did
was mainly a baseball player. I
you...
floated
Okay.
around in basketball, football, but I was a baseball player.
Yeah, I definitely I always enjoyed baseball. I interviewed a few guys who were in the big leagues. So that's a good thing. So maybe it reminds me there's a guy in the Indies, Dan Stofko, who was I don't know if you know him, Sugar Dan Stofko, who was a college baseball player, played like Division 3, had a little bit of success, and then he decided that he was going to be a wrestler. He transitioned from being a college baseball player. He went through his 4 years. He played, I think, 3 of the 4 years he played college, and decided I'm going to be a wrestler. So Now that I heard that you have a background playing sports, you were a baseball player. How does your athletic background help you to transition now that you're in the ring?
Man, so actually a little bit for a while I was a little bit of a shooter. I did some amateur wrestling, I did some jujitsu as well. I
Okay.
did some kickboxing. So like I'm versed in that, but there's a difference coming in as someone who has that athletic background and someone who's coming in as a wrestler and has to build up from the ground. I have started very young in lifting weights, just
Okay.
getting my cardio in, getting everything in. So I feel like in a way I've definitely had a head start. I mean, obviously I'm not in the shape that I used to be. I'm not the tallest guy out there, but man, my work
I
ethic
wasn't going to
is
bring it
not
up.
going to be beat. Oh yeah.
But that's interesting because I've interviewed a few people who've made that transition. A guy that's come on here is a guy, RP Davis, who was a boxer. He was a boxing
Mm.
champion and then made the transition to be a wrestler. I mentioned Dan Stofko. There's been other people that I've had on over the years that made that transition. When you're playing baseball in high school and you're out there playing, or you're playing other sports, did you always want to be a wrestler? I mean, I'm just curious because you have a different background than maybe some of the other guys that usually come on here.
So that was always definitely a goal of mine. It was always a dream. For a while, I told myself that I was going to be a baseball player, but I mean, at the same time, that always felt like a pipe dream. Whereas
Yeah,
as a wrestler, like I have a really good feeling I can do this. Like I'm still young. I've hit the ground running.
yeah.
I can't act like I'm the greatest guy ever, but I know I work harder than a lot of people. And hell, I'm out here doing this right now. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think, yeah, I think as we hear with the sometimes flag boy, the devil child, he is certainly these stepson, the wrestling's favorite stepson, of course, of the stepdads, Connor Schafer. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have voice figuratively and literally, where all music and wrestling matters. Yeah, I think, listen, to be honest, you were to have your odds of being in the big leagues. It's very difficult. I mean, it's certainly maybe you could go the route of playing D3 college ball. Maybe you could go the route of maybe playing indie pro ball after that. But realistically, it's a very difficult thing. And I have a background in college sports. I actually applied to be the men's head coach of the John Jay College basketball team. Not that they're giving me the job, but I did apply. We had fun on Sportswire. But it's very difficult, I think, to aspire to. Whereas with wrestling, I think, if you really put the work in, maybe you can have that success, at least of, crafting a nice career for you, going into different things. And hey, listen, you never know. I mean, look at all the work that Rad has put in here. Look what Papa Bear has done. So obviously, those are great things. And I have no doubt you'll get to where you want to be. Let's talk about, though, obviously, the match of your career now coming out. We've talked about Rad and this just amazing moment he had, amazing night. But you, sir, could have the opportunity to do one your own. And we're going to talk about it because I have the poster up. I mean, for those that are listening and watching, coming up here in prime time, Sacred Heart Church, All American Bash, next Saturday. Doors open 7 o'clock, bell time 7:30 p.m. You are in the match of your life against a man that we know from OVW, Mr. Bundles himself. And you got to talk to me about that, Mr. Flagboy Connor Schafer.
of course, yeah. So I mean, like, obviously, they don't want to put me on the poster because there wasn't enough room for me for some reason. Even though I feel like I'm a pretty big attraction over there, So they'll throw Bundle's name on there, but where's my name? I see my tag team's names on there. We have Dave Dahl, we have Dylan Mesh. They have to defend their titles against Primal Fear. Where's my name?
That's a great point. I mean, so why do you think that you're not on the poster? I mean, I saw Mr. Bundles do a podcast and an interview about coming up here, and obviously I see him all over social media. But what about you?
Hey man, so I mean, like, to get Bundles is out there getting his swings in at Top Golf. Meanwhile, I'm at the gym. I'm working out. I'm getting right. So, maybe I'll go take some swings at Top Golf and underestimate him because, frankly, I think all that means to me is that I've got a little bit of an advantage there now because he's not focused. He's swinging golf clubs.
It's an interesting point that you made because sometimes what happens in these matches is guys like D Get Bundles, who are obviously names that people look to see. Well, you know what? Maybe I want to see what big name they should wrestle. And they look at Connor Schafer and they go, all right, this is a tune-up match. This is a throwaway match. And Mr. Bundles, he may look past this match. He may be looking for where else is he going to wrestle, or what other big name is he going to wrestle? Maybe somebody like himself, somebody that might be getting scouted. We were talking about this last week on the show. There's a guy, Dave Jameson, who just wrestled the artist formerly known as Fuego del Sol. We were talking about that, and we were talking about a card on Friday again at the Express Building, the Express Wrestling Building in Pittsburgh. We're talking about names like Godric Sandwell, and we were talking about names like Pepper Pride, who have certainly made quite a name for themselves in the Indies. And maybe in the case of at least Miss Pride, she was wrestling someone kind of like yourself from Mr. Bundles. And maybe that helps you in a sense, because DGet Bundles is focused on where's his next gig. Who else could he wrestle to maybe get himself more attention? And maybe this is kind of the opening that you needed, almost in a way like Rad. I mean, Rad certainly on this platform is a beloved figure, but Darius Carter is, let's face it, he's just outside the top 150 of the PWI 500. Maybe Mr. Carter looked past Mr. Rad Dad, and maybe here this is exactly what could happen here coming up.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, hey, when you're worried about your next meal, you can choke on your current meal. So, frankly, all it takes is 3 seconds for his shoulders on the mat for me to win this match. And frankly, if his mind's not on me, if he's not watching my tape, if he's not figuring out why I'm slowly becoming the face of dog, then frankly, I'm winning this match, and there's nothing else to it.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to put Dog Wrestling's X up here. So if you want to follow Dog, please give them a follow. They followed us on Instagram. I always believe in supporting those who support us, especially about being all wrestling matters here. And I truly support that. And I support companies like Dog Wrestling. But this is obviously somebody in DGet Bundles that you can have a scouting report on. You can obviously watch some matches. You can obviously see a little bit of his profile. So in order to prepare for something like this, are you going back and watching some of his tape? So walk me through how maybe you're preparing for this.
Outrageously. I mean, like he obviously being on something like OVW, your entire career is kind of highlighted through that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um, so it's between that and obviously on the Dog Wrestling YouTube channel, there is some matches that he's had in the past. Most of them are around like 6, 7 years old, but I mean, hey, he's not from around here. He can't come up and be
yeah,
at every event. So
right.
the biggest thing with that is like making sure I'm on my P's and Q's. I have to study him. I have to be on top of everything. I need to know his moves. I need to know what his weaknesses are, his Achilles heel,
Yeah.
obviously, because maybe he's a pretty decently sized dude. He's
Yep.
made his way around. And frankly, like someone like me has to be a strategist. I have to figure out what's going to get me to that next level, what's going to get him down for those 3 seconds.
It's interesting that you talked about his footage and you talked about just getting ready for it. I had a wrestler on in your chair a couple weeks ago, kind of in the same boat as you, younger wrestler, this time in Arkansas, the Real Deal Eclipse. And we were talking about preparation, Connor, and it was kind of the opposite. He was like, well, I don't go out there and watch footage because I feel like it's happened, and I gotta go put my own spin on it. I have to focus. And you, on the other hand, are kind of basically going back and watching as much footage as possible, or going out there and getting a sense of a profile on who he is. Do you think maybe that strategy is a better one because your footage, I mean, there's some stuff out there. Obviously, I see Big Billy Gold's in here. You and him have been in the ring. You've got a little bit of stuff out there in UWC, GTS, a little bit of Dog, but in terms of your profile, it's a lot less than his. So maybe this strategy helps you because there's an endless amount of content to watch with Mr. Bundles. You could pretty much study and mimic everything he does out there.
Look, man, I think the biggest thing about that, about me being young, is like especially like in other sports, there's scouting reports. But if this
Yep.
person's too new, there's no scouting
Baseball,
report.
I always give, you're a baseball player. I always give the line that sometimes, and we talked about this a couple of days ago on Sportswire with the guest, and I had said at that time, sometimes what happens is if you're not seen the first time around the lineup, you have the advantage because I don't know how to pitch to you. I don't know how to scout you. I don't know what your weakness is. I don't know if I should throw you inside. I don't know if I should try to make you chase. I don't know if you're a low ball hitter. I don't know whatever how to pitch to you. So maybe it's kind of the same way because you really haven't been seen around the lineup as certainly as much as Mr. Bundles.
Oh yeah, I'm certainly fresh off the block, and like I said, I think that attributes to my benefit, especially with the fact that he's not even trying to look at what little tape I have. He's swinging a golf club. Meanwhile, I'm studying
Yeah.
not just him, but I continue to study guys like Eddie Guerrero, like Dean Malenko. Like I'm here 24/7 on my game because if I'm not getting better, then I'm getting worse. Like I said earlier, and frankly, I don't know what the guest's doing. He's talking
Yeah,
his
you know
work.
what? I mean, that's obviously that's something I'd have to ask him, but I think it's a fascinating point because sometimes guys like him look at it like, well, you know, hey, I'm OVW. I know what it takes. I know my name's out there. I know I'm gonna go somewhere because I got the name. Whereas a guy like you, I mean, sure, there's definitely a niche of people that know you, no question. But in terms of being out there, there's where you are, and then there's obviously where Mr. Bundles is. So I think that in a way, maybe that hurts him, and that goes against what he has been taught, what he has been trained to, because obviously to get to where he has been, he was once in your shoes. So maybe he's forgotten where he's come from. He can certainly play all the golf he wants, although hopefully the weather eventually, at least here in the tri-state area, the sun does come up. I feel like I forgot what the sun looks like here the last
Oh man, you're
4 or
not wrong.
5 days. But certainly it's an interesting point there that you made. So let me ask you this, because this is going to be the biggest match of your career, right? Going to be the biggest match. Are you nervous going into it? Will you feel like on match day next Saturday, this will be different than any other night?
So I think maybe a little bit earlier in my career, for sure, I definitely would have been. But going through everything I've gone through and watching my stepfather, watching Rad Dad, go through and through the nerves of facing a very good tag team in South Philly's finest, and then facing a top 200 ish
Yeah.
PWI guy in Darius Carter, and coming out on top and winning that belt and bringing it home to the Step family. I mean, I think I know where I'm at. I'm studying. I know what I'm good at. I know what my weaknesses are. I know what to attack. And frankly, I just need to step into my role and be comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think that you just have to be comfortable. I think that sometimes we try too hard, and that's a reason why that you may or may not be successful. And I guess that since you did bring up the MPW Grand Championship, does that mean then that you, because you're a stepson, have like a portion of this championship?
I mean, I guess it. I mean, it's going to be hung up in the family mantle with all the rest of the family's championships. So I'll walk by it every so often, give it a nice little look. But I mean, Rad's going to be defending in as many places as possible. He's going to
Yeah,
take
I
it to
mean,
as many companies.
obviously Rad with what he has in GTS right now, and the GBYWN championship. I mean, you think about that right for a second, and just going back to Rad, he's got three of the biggest singles championships that anybody could want right now. You think about the MPW Grand Championship and how he won that. You think about obviously in GTS, right, with the Intercontinental Championship and what he did to retain that title against Jimmy Controversy. What a live crowd that was, and certainly having the GBYWN Championship, which is probably the most special one here on this platform because so many backyard guys have come on here the last 3 or 4 years. So if you think about it right now, I mean, Rad has got three of the most prestigious championships in almost any form, right? You think about the backyard, right? The GBYWN. GTS is sort of GTS, GTS is his own entity. And then you got the MPW Grand Championship. I mean, Rad really is the definition of kind of like the everyman wrestling champion at the moment.
Oh yeah, outrageously. And you know, I know Angel Santiago has been kind of dodging
Yeah.
it, but I think that TF Crew Championship could find its way over to the
Well,
Step
what did you
family.
think about that? Obviously they had a match months ago, and it was certainly a very memorable match. We talked a lot about it here. I promise I won't have you on here for 3 hours like Rad was here last time. But I mean, certainly that was a match a lot of people feel like they want to see more of. What was your vantage point from watching what Santiago and Rad Dad, your stepdad, did months ago?
I mean, hey, I'll give Angel props. Him and Rad took each other to the limit over in Connecticut over at TF Crew.
Yep.
Phenomenal match. I think there's more that the fans need to see. There was no decisive winner. It ended to time like the time limit draw, and I mean, frankly, I think they need to run it back. I think Rad
People
needs
wanted
to.
5 more minutes. People were like really wanting more, and Rad almost had him, and Santiago rolls out of the ring, and you know,
It is what it is, but I think Angel thinking that he's above this now is definitely wrong because Rad took him to the limit, and I mean, if they went 5 more minutes, who's to say that Rad wouldn't be walking out with that TF Crew Championship?
yeah, it's so funny that you said that because I had a wrestler on in Yorkshire because I feel like wrestling is almost like everything revolves. It's almost like it's like a domino effect. Or it's almost like the wheel goes round and round and round. I had a wrestler that benefited from that who was here 2 weeks ago from West Virginia, the West Virginia Wrestling Federation, and it was the hybrid championship match. There was a young fellow, Wyatt Black, who thought he had won that match, and it wound up the general manager there decided the way the match had kind of ended that they were getting 5 more minutes. And then the 5 more minutes, my guest, James Enoch, the Chemical Valley Gunslinger, go figure, the Chemical Valley Gunslinger, wound up winning the match. So you think about it, if Rad had gotten that 5 minutes, you could make the case similar to like James Enoch did here a couple weeks ago when he was here on Sportswire that maybe I'm talking with Rad and Rad's, he's got the TF Crew YouTube title. I mean, now at that point, I mean, Rad's like basically what Kenny Omega was.
It would be, what would that be? 4 belts right now?
Well, but 4 major belts. They're like, okay, I've got, a belt, and you have to figure out what it means. You talk about value of companies. You talk about GTS, right? Millions of subscribers. The TF Crew title, which is one of maybe the better companies that's almost in its own lane, right? The crowds are just phenomenal. Every time they do a show, it's a special attraction, but they mean something. The GBYW and the history of that speaks volumes. And then the MPW Grand Championship, what Rad went through with that. So you think about what he could have been. I mean, that's Kenny Omega right there.
Oh yeah, and it's just outrageous to see like the shoulder. He's got a couple other things going on. He's
Yeah,
got his tag team matches. He's got his own singles matches. I mean, he is the Iron Man. He
absolutely.
is the Iron Man of the Northeast, and
Oh,
I don't
no
think there's
question
much
about it.
competition.
No, definitely not. And I do want to say also, please give a follow to Dog Wrestling. Please check out Matt Pro Wrestling on Instagram. Please follow Connor on Instagram. And I think I want to get to the chat. I want to get to some people. They want to talk to you. I want to talk about a couple of other topics. So let's do that here. And Zilla is my first chat and first comment in the chat. And she would like to say, nice to meet you. Yes, very nice to meet you. Much enjoying the conversation. In South Jersey. So you're actually, you're kind of near me, but not quite near me. That's where in South Jersey are you actually? Now I should ask. Are you by
So I'm
Blockbuster
like,
at all, where they run the EBW shows? Or you past that? Where
so
do you?
I'm about 25 minutes away from Philly. In
Oh,
the
okay. So you're like Cherry Hill, like almost kind of like.
Yeah, a little bit south of Cherry Hill, pretty
Okay.
close to Cherry Hill.
I used to talk to a girl years ago that lived in Cherry Hill, so it reminded me of that. So yeah, nothing
That's
really
pretty
happened. We never
close.
met, but I knew Cherry Hill. I knew that. So, all right. So you're a little away from me. Yeah, we're not near each other. Not as
I
close as I was.
travel. I travel.
Well, my mother lives in South Amboy, New Jersey, which is basically like Staten Island. It's like those who left Staten Island, they went to South Amboy. But different show for a different time. But yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Zilla, for that. And you knew he would be here, Mr. Rad Dad
Of
himself.
course.
The stepdads are very proud of you, son. Don't forget to mow the lawn tomorrow before we get to the. But I would think with the rain we've had here, I mean, you may not need to mow the lawn.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard. I might clog up the mower.
I mean, seriously, the weather here, I mean, I'm sure it's the same for you, but let's see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday has been the same exact weather. So, I mean, it's literally been rainy, foggy, misty. So maybe you get a break and you won't have to mow the lawn until Thursday because I think we're getting another day of this here in the
I
tri-state
certainly
area.
hope so, man. I mean, I've already got enough chores going on inside the step family
Well, if it
house.
makes you feel better, I technically do have a stepfather, but the way I look at it, my dad was dead, and then he became a stepfather way years later. So it's almost like, in your case, you're a little younger than me, so Rad really is your stepdad. Mine is really not a stepdad, really.
Yeah, so I mean, the way that I like to look at it is that instead of being the stepdad, he's the dad who stepped up. I
Well,
mean,
that's, you know what? That's it. Yeah, you can look at it that way. I'll give you that much. I'll give you that much. But yes, hello to Rad and Papa Bear out there. And are you getting betting advice from Papa Bear? You're a
you know what's
baseball guy, so
actually
you probably get the reference.
what's actually hilarious is Sunday, me and him actually went to a minor league baseball game together. So I
Oh,
mean, again,
where'd you guys go? Trenton?
so no, so we went to the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. So they were the
Oh,
Ridgewood Blue
okay. You know
Claws.
what? I actually know who they are. Wow, that was pretty cool. Did you guys throw out the first pitch?
Nah, I wish.
I
I
would think.
wish.
Listen, you and Papa Bear and Rat. I would think first pitch.
So like I'm the middle ground between the two. Like Papa Bear's the more like sporty baseball guy. Brad Dad's the real technical wrestling guy.
Yep.
I'm in the middle right there. I'm right there. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons they adopted me, other than me being one of the next top stars out here, you know?
I think that they certainly saw genetics and they saw that there was good gene potential and they saw that the legacy would continue. And if you want to continue the legacy of the stepdads, give them a sub on YouTube. Just do it because that means more eyes on the prize. And we appreciate everything about Rad does for us. I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Torrance Banks from New York, upstate, though. He'd like to say hello there. He is a big GTS fan, a big Rad Dad fan. And speaking of people that are here, my friends over in the beautiful state of Iowa, I'll hopefully see them soon on Sportswire. It's been a minute, but we'll get them back. They got some big shows coming up on July 4th weekend. But there is Mr. Ox McCoy. That's what he really looks like in real life. He's always full of blood. You know, it's not art painting. It's not Crayola crayons. It really is him. But yeah, thank you for that, Ox. And I did do the intro, and I hope you liked it. He likes my war chant. He's the guy, by the way, that said I should do the war chant. I used to just do, like I said, the 20-second
That's
intro.
awesome.
Now I do the war chant. So you got him, and he
So
likes
it all
Yeah.
goes with the high school I went to. We were the Braves, so we did the chop.
Oh, okay. You were the Braves. Wow, what a small world. Yeah, because I was asking one of, I think, well, no, it was my guest on Sunday, Joey Knight Jr. from Arkansas. And I said, you think I should do the war chant in Arkansas? He's like, no. He's like, don't do it. He's like, they'll kill you there. I'm like, all right, I won't do it there, but we'll do it here on Sportswire. He's like, good enough.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah. Speaking of people from Iowa, our good friend, one half of the tag team champions there in the IMF, Mr. Soldier GP. I hope Mr. Soldier's doing well. And thank you to all of our brethren out there in the world tuning in who watching us. Hello to everybody out there. Yes, hello to Mr. Soldier. I want to congratulate Mr. Abram Storm, 200 subscribers on YouTube. Certainly moving up the ranks. How you doing? And what do you want to say about Big Billy Gold? You and him have been in the ring. You've obviously wrestled Big Billy Gold. You've been side by side with him. You know, he's here. And anything you want to say about him?
Yeah, so Big Billy Gold I've known for a little bit now. I brought him into GTS. I mean, we've been around each other for a while now, and I gotta say that's the brother, man. We did have a battle at UWC,
I
but it
can
was
see that. Yeah.
it was all friendly love. It was all in the spirit of competition. He is a big guy. I lost to him. Things happen. But I think there's some big things coming for Big Billy Gold and the Devil Child Connor Schafer. Nothing's been put official yet, but there might be something going on there. Namely, possibly in Connecticut for TF Crew.
Oh, wait. Time out for a second. Time out. You said Connecticut, but GTS, I mean, I don't know if I'm pretty sure they're not in Connecticut, but I'm curious why you brought up Connecticut, though.
So nothing's official yet. I don't like counting my ducks, but we may or may not be involved in something up there in the next coming months. So you may or may not see Connor Schafer and Big Billy Gold in Connecticut.
Well, I'll tell you where I did see him here. I saw him in elsewhere, you and him. You remember this?
Oh, I remember some of it until I got clobbered.
Well, Billy, I'm sure Billy told me he wanted me to put this on the screen because Billy said that, Tom, I knew Connor was coming on and I wanted you to put this up because I was going to be here in the chat and that's what he said. Well, leave it for what he said.
I mean, of course he wants to show the match where he beat me at, it was definitely a unique setting. I mean, we were right on the
Yeah,
side.
I've seen, it reminds me, I've done a lot of British wrestling over the years, and sometimes they run these shows that look like this, but what they'll do is it could be like in front of like a carnival or some kind of like outdoor thing, and they'll run a show like this. They'll get a ring set up, and they'll have like a lot of people watch it because people are just maybe shopping or just hanging out, and you kind of have the same setting here almost.
big hug to the
At least you got a
brother.
hug, you know? At least you
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
hug.
So like, don't get me wrong. All the crowd was on the left side there, so they were there. They were just all because there was a giant hill on the other side. So if they stood over
Ah,
there, they just fall.
well,
Oh, look at that
obviously,
big
yeah,
strong
yeah.
guy.
He's a big man. I mean, he's a little bigger than you. Just want to let you know he's a little bigger than you.
Just a
Just a
little
little,
bit.
just like the old in Bob Uecker's line in Major League, just a bit outside. You're just a
Yep.
bit, just a bit outside there. But I mean, so maybe wrestling a big guy will prepare you for next Saturday. You could say.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest thing to find in like the measurables on some wrestlers. Guys like Billy Gold wanted to be known how big they are because it only adds to their stature as a wrestler. But you know what? When I'm stepping in front of the get bundles, I'm gonna look at them and I'm gonna say, okay, this is my opponent. Time to turn it up. Time to wrestle. Time to beat this guy. Because again, if he's gonna count his chickens now, I don't care what size he is, he's going down.
Yeah, I think that that is a point that you will certainly look to hammer on, and I think it's a point that you're going to certainly hope that Mr. Bundles falls in that trap. And I think we've seen that here recently. Not to say that Carter fell into that trap, but obviously Carter was beaten by Rad, and Carter heard some of the clips that I posted on social media and the interview itself, and he obviously felt differently about what was to come this past Friday. And so maybe that'll be the same coming up here with Mr. Bundles. And I'll take this off the screen because obviously you didn't win the match, which I knew already, but we'll come back to it later on. I'm sure Mr. Gold will still be okay with us. But also want to get to Rad. The cherry on top of the biggest night of my career, pinning the number 152 in the PWI 500s, Darius Carter was to win the Mat Pro Wrestling Grand title in front of my stepson Connor and my longtime tag team partner, Papa Bear Wade Kruger. So there you go. That's basically what I said. Want to say hello to my friend out there from Iowa. Iowa is here. I know hopefully that they will come back on soon. I'm sure that we'll get that very soon. But she has a business. I keep forgetting what it is. It's Worry Stones. It's good for anxiety. It is Men's Mental Health Month. So if you'd like to buy a Worry Stones, they're $3. So let her know. She has an X page. You can check it out and tell her Sports by Radio sent you, and I appreciate that. I keep forgetting what these things are, but go out there and buy one of hers because I keep forgetting. But it's like I do a news show Wednesday nights, Connor, and I'm sometimes supposed to read an ad, and I always like forget the ad, but then I go, oops, okay, yeah, it clicks, and it's like, yeah, I read that last week. But good news is we're not reading news ads this week because considering what's going on in the world, I don't think I want to read the news. I'll do that Wednesday night somewhere else. But hello there to CSW. Yes, hello to Billy. Nice to meet you, Billy. I love to see a Northeast indie promotion create trios titles because the Step family would dominate the trios division. I'd love for the Step family is a trip to watch together and separate in 2025. So I want to talk about the first part of that. I mean, would you like to be in a trios match or a trios title or more six-man tags with Papa Bear and certainly Rad? What's your thoughts on that?
Outrageously. I mean, not to be with just one of the father figures in my life, but both of them, and being able to put all that chemistry together in a wrestling ring and show everyone what we got, of course. And I think if there's one, two, three of us, most times on the indies you only see a group of two. If
Yeah.
they're gonna randomly find that third guy, maybe they're a little bit friends with them. They're not gonna have the chemistry that I have with both of those guys. So frankly, I think we'd run it. It'd be
I
us.
I think that's a good point because I've had a lot of independent wrestling on of late on the platform, and I've noticed in the South because my last guest, which was Sunday, was a part of a group that it would kind of actually fitted in the trios thing because they had a tag match and the guy got a concussion and the other guy came in. So you see a lot of that in the South in the Indies, but not as much in the Northeast scene. So I actually think that's actually a good eye there by Rad. I would like to see more of that as well because you see it in the South because I have a lot of Southern indie wrestlers come on of late, but I don't see it as much in our area here in the tri-state area. So that's a great point. Thank you, Billy. Thank you very much. Hello, hello. I hope that one day a promotion will launch trios titles. I just got the point. because the Step family has the potential to be one of the most formidable trios across the Northeast. That would be, that would be a pretty big thing. I mean, like, that's something you guys talk about a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely being able to get the whole Step family into one ring. It's one YouTube clip. It's a lot easier, instead of
Yeah,
having
the shorts
separate
would be like
matches.
through the roof. Yeah, the shorts would
Oh,
be, forget that. You would be all through the roof there. Absolutely. That would be quite the thing. Yeah, that would be a good point. And if you are here, hit the sub button for the stepdads. I have a bunch of comments I'm going to get to you. Plus, I got something for you after I get through the comments. But
okay.
yep. Oh, speaking of young talents, there you go. My fourth member of Iowa here, the great state of Iowa, Mr. Felix Jones, one of the members of the House of Wolves. How you doing, Felix? Maybe you're being scouted. Maybe they want to scout you. I mean, do you want to travel to other states? Is that something that you want to do? Some guys are on here, like going back to my last guest, Joey Knight Jr. He declared that he wants to wrestle in all 50 states, which is, a lofty goal there, 50 states to wrestle in every single one of them. But is that something you want to do and travel that extensively?
Outrageously. I mean, like, I love traveling. So, like, a big part of that stemmed from as a kid. I've been to, I believe, 15 MLB stadiums. So I've been around.
Wow. Okay.
But I want to do that, but with the 50 states, not only, I'm not stopping there. I want to wrestle in other countries, especially like I know a little bit of German. I speak a little Deutsch, so I want to go
It's
over
funny you
there.
said that. One of my guests, a guy Bentley, is now wrestling in Germany. He is a British wrestler, and he just got booked to wrestle in Germany.
So yeah, I mean that's definitely. I think the biggest thing on my bucket list is to go over in Germany because I can wrestle in wherever in North Dakota.
Yeah.
But if I can go over to Germany, I'm okay with 49 states in one country. Well,
Yeah,
two
I think
countries.
Germany. I think I've had a lot of wrestlers wrestle in Scotland because in the UK they're next to each other. That's a good one. That's a good one. What was your favorite baseball stadium, real quick? I usually don't ask sports questions, but you brought up 15 stadiums. I almost feel like I got
So
to ask it.
there's a couple that stick out to me. Honestly hate to say it because I know the chop's a cool thing. Not a huge fan of the Braves, but the old Turner Field was phenomenal to go to.
Yeah,
I mean,
Turner Field.
it
It
was an
wasn't even
amazing
around that
experience.
long. They only had it for like 20 years. They closed the ballpark. I didn't get that.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of their new stadium, but Turner
Yeah.
Field was fantastic. That was one
Yeah.
of my favorite vacations that I've ever been on.
Although as Met fans, they were certainly, I mean, I'm a Mets fan. There was a lot of horror. Although last year some of that was rectified, but a lot of horrors there. Yeah, Turner Field, that was a nice little ballpark. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, among all the experiences, obviously, you don't want to go to your rivals' places, but I mean, that stadium was something else.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been to your own ballpark in Philly. I mean, a lot of people love the ballpark in Philly. People love Pittsburgh. I've been to Pittsburgh
Oh
Stadium. I hear that's kind of
man,
fun. I hear. I
I've
hear that.
I've definitely been to Pittsburgh. I mean,
Have you
that
been to
was
Fenway, Wrigley? I'm assuming.
so Wrigley, yes. Fenway, no.
Really?
Little upset at my grandfather because he goes to Fenway like once a year, but he never
Wow, I
took
would have
me
thought
there.
in the tri-state area. And you've been to Yankee and City Field? Yankee
So I
Stadium?
went to the old Yankee Stadium. I haven't been to the new one.
Wow. Okay. Well, boy, you were young then when you went to, because Yankee Stadium
Oh
and
yeah.
Shea Stadium closed the same time. Wow. Okay. All right.
So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
a lot of my trips were very early, very young for that.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, you want to follow more about Connor in the ring. Let's get to the wrestling ring. Instagram is where you can certainly book him in more things. Hello to Felix. And yeah, Matt DeMorris is definitely one of the greatest in the backyard circuit. I mean, he's coming back out there in the ring, and Rad certainly knows a lot about him, and maybe you'll know a lot about him. And yeah, I would like to be like Matt DeMorris also. I want to say
Oh,
hello to Mr. Jason Storm. He is the ROEW champion, and he would like to say hello, Sportswire Sheep and Zilla. It's nice to see Mr. Storm. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about him very soon on the platform. And hello. A lot of hellos. You know why? Because I wasn't on yesterday. So some people are just like, where was I? And I just wasn't on. I had some internet connections. My guest
mm,
canceled, and I
got to
went out.
catch up a little bit.
Yeah, I've been on like
Ooh,
at like
all the shout
700.
outs.
I think in like 700 days, no joke. I think I've done like 700 shows. No, seriously. So I've
Oh
done 2
man.
in a day, 3 in a day. One of my friends is a guy in a band who's playing in a show Saturday, and I may go. And he was like, I've seen you do 2 and 3 shows. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that physically anymore. I just can't. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
I've been on a lot. And D Bundles better stop sleeping. On the devil child. And I think that's what I learned tonight is that the success that Rad had in what he did on Friday and what other guys have talked about, if you're going to go out there and be successful next Saturday, sure, you're not on the poster. That's definitely upsetting. But looking at the recent success that what Rad Dad did, that's something you can use to motivate you to go out there and get a victory. And I think that that's a very, very valid point. One of those names is Eddie Guerrero. Yes, Eddie Guerrero, who's probably the most common wrestler influenced on the platform. And I did get that point. Thank you, Rabbi. I got it. Step Family versus YDNG Gold. I mean, what do you think about that?
So, I mean, wow. That is honestly, it's definitely bucket list for sure. I mean, just any name, any name of three people, phenomenal. Young,
And
Dumb, and Gold.
and that would be one that we would certainly like to talk about him. But Rad would like to say, just imagine if the Step family adopted Big Billy Gold. Now, have you been pushing? Have you tried to ask Rad and Papa Bear about this? Is that what's going on here?
Possibly. He's not a cheap child. He is not cheap. I
Well, you
honestly
do
think
know that they say the cost of a child, if you're going to have a child today, it starts from like today to when they become 18 is something like $500,000. That's what the cost of a child, if you're going to have a child today from when they turn 18, it was an article in the New York Post. This was a few months ago, and it was $500,000. 500,000. So yeah, maybe I'm not gonna have any kids anytime soon. Then my bank
that's
account's gonna be depleted. Then I'll have
you
to get
gotta
a
think
real.
it's gotta be
I'll have
more.
to mow the lawn for Rad. We don't want that. My days, I have never mowed the lawn. I'm from Brooklyn. We haven't mowed the lawn.
See, it's got to be a little bit more for someone like Big Billy Gold. Like he's got to
Yeah.
be eating a lot of food to be that big. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
tall
that,
guy. A
that
lot of
food
guy.
bill
He's
would be that
strong.
food bill would be, especially with inflation. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe Rad and Papa Bear want to think about that. Papa Bear might have to win some more bets in that case.
Oh yeah.
But or more parlays. They do look similar, but he's got
Well,
more
yeah.
hair. He got more hair.
Oh yeah. Well, just a little bit.
Hit the
So
sub
I
button
mean,
for them. Yep.
oh,
What?
outrageously. I think Billy. I don't know if you've ever seen his stuff, but he is one of
Yeah,
the most electric guys in wrestling.
I
He's
have.
got to be on here at some point. He is.
I would love to have him. He's all you got to do is message me. Listen, he's probably sub to me on YouTube. If we do we follow him? If we follow each other on Instagram, but I'll handle. Yeah, we'll definitely get him on. I'll handle it.
He's printing money. I'll tell you
Oh,
that.
well, we'll bring him on. I'll bring him on. Listen, hit the sub button for me, and I'll message you on Instagram. We'll make it
Oh
happen.
yeah. He's big
How did
friends with
you
like
have?
Jordan Oliver. Those guys, they're phenomenal.
Jordan Oliver is funny. Real quick, I got a Jordan Oliver story. Real quick, I do British wrestling, and I actually covered Jordan Oliver the first time he traveled outside the United States. That
That
was
is
almost about a year and a half ago, actually. A year and a half ago. So
wow. So that's honestly phenomenal. Just like it's such a smaller world than people really think it is.
yeah, I mean, we were talking off the air, and I'm like, yeah, I know him. It was like, okay, yeah, we'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be fine. And it's a domino effect. That's what it is, the domino effect. And absolute legend, yes, definitely. And congratulations, graduating
Oh
high school.
yeah.
Congratulations, definitely. Hope you continue on your studies, and the best is yet to come. And speaking of people, I'm sure you heard of a little bit. You heard of him,
Oh,
right?
Doc, big
Mr.
Doc.
Legendary
What's
Doc
going
Holliday.
on?
Yep, Mr. GBYWN, Mr. Management in GTS. And
Oh yeah.
speaking of which, in GTS, obviously you've done a few things. Food in the fridge. You've wrestled Ice-T Curtis for the Intercontinental title when he was the champion. So, I mean, talk to me a little about GTS here for a few minutes.
Man, so I mean, just GTS has been a phenomenal experience for me getting reps in for sure. Getting that experience. It was definitely one of my bigger steps. And I mean, facing guys like Ice-T Curtis, I
Absolutely,
mean, that he is an absolute bulldog. I mean,
for sure.
sometimes he's a little tougher than he should be, but I mean that makes him a phenomenal wrestler because he pushes
Absolutely.
past his limits and he goes further than anyone should. And when people bring me up to that level, it's phenomenal. I love matching that energy. I like going a little bit further. And I mean, like, he's beaten me a few times. I've beaten him, and it's to the point where it's like I'm starting to get some real respect for him. And like some of the other guys at GTS, Gabe, phenomenal guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Gabe,
I know Gabe for a long time. Gabe has come on here. In fact, I should show you something because, I haven't met many wrestlers that have come on my platform, but I have a little thing that I do want to show you because actually this man that you just mentioned, I met him before. I actually met him once. I met him December 19th. It was on a Thursday, and I was sick as a dog. and Gabe was coming into in New York City in Manhattan, and he was here for a day and a half, and he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, would you like to meet?" And I was so sick, and I'm like, "I'm sick. You sure you're okay with me, meeting you? I'm sick though." And he's like, "No, no, I got to meet you." And we met, and we had like about 8 minutes. We met for about 8 minutes. I met his family, and he was on his way back to Connecticut, and this was in the if you ever been to New York City, Grand Central Terminal, which is on 42nd Street, and the whole thing underground, you can go into Metro North, which I think where he was going, and you had the MTA subway and the whole shops, and we met, and that's actual proof of me meeting the Heartstopper, Gabe Sayers. And no, my heart didn't stop that I saw Gabe Sayers, but and I didn't ask him for an autograph, nor did he ask for my autograph, but I did meet him.
Hey, I mean, Gabe is one of the most phenomenal people I've met.
I
Like
love
the
Gabe.
entire TF crew, like Doc, I've only met Doc a couple times.
Mm.
Phenomenal, I mean, just like getting to see all these guys every time they come down the GTS. It's like, man, if only Connecticut was only an hour away, things would be a lot easier.
Yeah, it's a little far from you because we talked about this before, Gabe. I lived for a summer in Greenwich, Connecticut, and even Greenwich is far away from Gabe, and Connecticut is definitely a trek from South Jersey. Yeah, unfortunately it's a bit of a bit of a hassle to get there, but they've got a great product. I mean, TF Crew is one of those companies when they're out there. I always look forward to watching some of the content, and yeah, a lot of TF Crew guys have been in GTS. Caster, certainly Doc Holliday, you mentioned, certainly Angel Santiago, definitely can't forget about that. So yeah, a lot of TF Crew crossover in GTS.
Of course, yeah, and I mean, like, I couldn't have asked for a better promotion for them to cooperate with because I mean, all
Absolutely.
these guys, maybe Angel sometimes can be a little bit he can come off the wrong way for sure. I mean, he's got a thing with Rad, so I'm not allowed to like him. He said stepdad would ground me if I said I
Yeah,
like
you
Angel,
definitely,
so
for your case, you don't want to certainly go and have to mow the lawn then.
of course, yeah, I might have to low 2 lawns for some reason. He's gonna make me
Wow.
go over it again.
Oh, well, yeah, we don't want that. We don't. We with that labrum injury, we definitely don't want
Oh,
that.
no.
No, no,
Gotta take
no
care
more.
of that.
Yeah, it's so funny that GTS connects people, and I have a couple of friends that come on here. A guy, Austin James, was there. I don't know if you've heard of Austin, who's done EBW Pro. He did a little bit of he did a small run there in the summer this
That
past year.
sounds
Yeah,
incredibly Oh, so, right when
you
I
def
debuted in GTS, that
yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
definitely know him. You definitely know him, Austin James. Yeah,
Met him
definitely.
about twice, I
Yeah,
believe.
he's done some stuff in EBW Pro where the stepdads did a little run there. The promoter's a guy, interesting guy. Let's leave it at that. No, good guy, but interesting guy. But yeah, Austin James. There was his brother this there, and then a guy, Jay Luther, also did the run
He
there.
came to
There,
GTS once, I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
him. Yep.
yeah, Jay Luther from a company called DBW. So a kind of a sort of like TF Crew, but with a lot more people. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I would love to see you in places. I mean, you mentioned TF Crew. I mean, I think TF Crew is one of those companies that just seems to have a nice little niche. It's not a regular company, but when they run, it's almost an attraction. That would be pretty cool to see you there.
Oh, yeah, it'd be phenomenal, especially like I said, my boy Big Billy Gold. I mean,
Yep.
hey, love to make magic happen, man.
I mean, certainly Rad's got unfinished business there, and you've got Mikey Anarchy there. I mean, certainly not going to ask you to go in there and do anything in the ring. One of the guys that I always enjoy watching that I think is just so underrated is Christopher Black. I just think
Oh,
so
yeah.
highly of Christopher Black. I mean, I feel like he's one of those guys that, I look at Caster, Christopher Black, that they're like guys to me that they've got so much potential that people don't know until they see it. They go, okay, it clicks. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, so I haven't worked with Christopher Black, but I've been around him enough to just know, like, every so often you see when a person's gears turn a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So it's definitely really cool to see that. I'd love to work with him. Haven't yet, but, anything can be in the cards. We're both
Yeah,
young.
he's one of those guys that he's very, very versatile and can do a lot of different things. And we are here with the Devil Child, sometimes the flag boy Connor Schafer. We're going to give him something in a few minutes before we sign off here. And yes, hello to the legendary Doc Holiday, who I'm still trying eventually when my schedule slows down to get Mr. Holiday on here. And thank you to the legendary Doc Holiday. And yes, congratulations, Abram Storm, thunderously graduating high school, and hope that the best is yet to come to you. Big Billy
Oh,
Gold is tall. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm sure that your stepdad may be playing a little bit of a tall joke on you, but maybe you'll grow a little bit. Maybe you still got something left in
yeah,
you.
I'm still young, man. I'm still young. It's a little inside joke that's slowly
Yeah,
becoming
maybe you know
outside,
what?
but
Maybe you'll get. Maybe you'll grow still. Maybe you have one more growth spurt in you. I don't know.
you never know. Funny thing is, my brother that's 14 is like 6'1". I got none of that. None of it.
Yeah, sometimes it just it's all varies. I mean, sometimes it's just you don't know. It just there are some families that have that. They're like one kid will be 6'4" and the other one will be 5'6". I mean,
Yeah, it's
you know,
okay. I mean, he might have got the height, but I got the glorious hair.
well, you do have that, and certainly, yes, Zilla's asking. We'll let you imagine what the heights are. We'll imagine. We'll just imagine things.
Yeah,
Hello.
we'll imagine.
Yeah, and we have an upcoming trios match with TF Crew. Yes, and we know that. I mean, Rad's got something on the line here. Speaking of that, I mean, he's got to win a match to get a shot at Angel. What is your thoughts on that for a minute? Going back to TF Crew.
I mean, any bit he can get back from Angel with everything that Angel said about him is just a little bit towards getting closer to that. Sorry about that. To the TF Crew YouTube Championship. So I mean, I'd love to have another championship on the family mantle. If it comes at the expense of Angel Santiago, if he doesn't want to be nice about it, we don't have to be nice about it.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens regardless because so many people want to see that match again, but Rad has to win a match to get there first. And that's again going back in kind of our conversation throughout the evening is that sometimes you have to look at what's in front of you before you can get to that where you want to be. So we'll see. Yeah, that's why he's big. He's 6'6",
Six
and
foot six.
6'6". Yes, I actually was friends with a college basketball player who was about that. One of my buddies, my former employers in politics, Steven Saperstein, was 6'4", 6'4", and I'm 6 foot, so I'm not short. I'm not, when he made me look short. I'm 6 foot. I'm
Yeah.
relatively speaking, okay. But yes, and is Money Radley Daddy? Yeah, me and Connor's a team of
Bradley
Money
Dadley.
Radley Dadley. Well, it could be. It could very well be the case, and we'll see who else. To give the stepdads a sub, and yeah, I mean, a lot of people would. A lot of people would. Thank you, thank you. Yes, we're a big fan of both. We
Thank
love
you.
both, and we're excited that Jason Storm is here. And yeah, Christopher Black is awesome. I've been talking about him on here. I think Gabe comes on here periodically, and I always bring him up with Gabe, and he is one of those guys that could definitely go out there in the ring. But before I get to a few other things, I know you're a very busy man. You do have to get up in the morning tomorrow. I'm sure. I don't think you have a curfew at this point. Thankfully, you're a little older than that, but obviously, I know that Rad obviously wants to get to work tomorrow morning.
Of
I do
course.
have something for you that I'd like to give you because I do things a little differently. Because Rad's gotten plenty of things. Since you are his stepson, I do have to give you something else. So for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage where all music and wrestling matters, it is Connor Schafer Day. Because I couldn't put Devil Child or Flag Boy because I'm like, because I can't reference one or the other. So let me do just Connor Schafer. So I'll do Connor Schafer Day. So on all Sportswire radio platforms, congratulations. I'll give you the physical copy when we're off there. I know it's not quite defeating Mr. Bundles, but this will do for now.
Phenomenal. For now until I beat him.
Well, then we'll have you come back on and we'll talk about it, and that'll be a fun conversation. So, yeah, it's all Connor Schafer Day here on all of our platforms. So definitely enjoy that, and we like having you on here. We love our stepdads, and thank you. Yeah, she says bye. Hope you have a great night, and I'll see you when I see you. And all right, so before I get to a few other final words, is there anything else that you'd want me to promote or plug before we move on to a few final words on some matches upcoming?
I mean, promoting and plugging, we should be good. I would like to take this chance to step in front of the line a little bit, if that's okay with you.
You can do whatever you want, sir. You're a stepson.
Phenomenal. So just for some lore on dogs, so we have this champion, Vinny the Fixer, and recently in all of his matches, even against Big Billy Gold, he had a retention. But you know what he did is he used some brass knuckles on Big Billy Gold and a
Ooh.
couple others. So obviously I don't have the best reputation in dog, but when it comes down to it, I am dog. I mean, I'm at every card. I'm at every event, and frankly, I can't really stand for that. I mean, Vinny's a big dog in the other company, our sister company, brother company, Mawa,
Okay.
and he's got some defenses there. He's got some defenses here. He's facing he's got a match at Mawa. He's got a match coming up at the next dog event that is the same match as to get bundles.
Okay.
He's facing, let's see, Jack Martins. So
Okay.
he's been on GTS before, but
Yeah,
he's
I heard of
got
the name.
we've got some events in Monmouth as well.
They know Monmouth very well.
I'd like to throw my my name in the bucket there. You know, there's been a lot of people challenging him, and I think frankly, if he can get through all that, you know, card subject to change,
Mm.
he could lose any of these matches. If he gets through all that, I want a shot. I
So,
think I deserve a championship match.
so you mean to tell me that you want a shot and you're throwing your hat in the ring here after all this?
Outrageously, I am because at this point, you know, if he's got to use brass knuckles to beat all these big guys, you know, I think for him, he'd like to prove that me, the flag boy of all people, the occasional devil child, that he can beat me fair and square. And you know what? If he can get through all these tough opponents, you know, maybe I'll even give him home field advantage. Maybe at the next Mawa event coming up after the next one, I can take him on for that dog championship.
Ooh. So you're basically okay. So you want a championship shot.
Oh
You
yeah,
want Vinny the Fixer. You feel that you want to fix him up, and
real good.
you want to take something from him that he's been hanging on for dear life for.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be that desperate about it, if he can somehow find a way through all these opponents that he's got stacked up, I want my shot. I think I've been through enough at dog to get my shot at Vinny the Fixer, and we can do it at Mawa. We can do it at dog. Give me the time and place, Vinny. I think it's time that I bring it back to my promotion.
Well, I'll tell you what, you did mention, Jack Martins, and we know him and Tang Tolan have a showdown here coming up, if I'm not mistaken, next Saturday. So those are some lofty names that you just mentioned. And obviously, I want to plug before we get to closing thoughts here one more time what is coming up, which is next Saturday. It is the next dog wrestling show. You need to go out there, support dog wrestling. And you can see here coming up, you got a lot of great coverage. You can check it out here at dogprowrestling.com, Dog Wrestling on X. And the next show is coming up at Sacred Heart Church in Riverton, New Jersey. You can also see the card here coming up because we got a number of different people. And we saw, obviously, Mr. Bundles do an interview for it. But you can see, again, Vinny the Fixer takes on Marvelous for the Dog Championship match. And boy, certainly Connor Schafer, the flag boy, well, he's waved the flag here. He wants to wave that flag loud and proud here that he wants a championship match. You know what? I'll tell you what. If you go out there and defeat Mr. Bundles, well, you definitely should get a title shot. If you go out there and beat a man of this stature, an OVW star, hey, maybe you should get a title shot. Maybe you should find out and go out and watch the show for yourself. And you want to get ticket information, 856-417-4187. That is 856-417-4187. Again, only $20 admission. I went out there and saw Ballerina. I saw Mission Impossible Day of Reckoning. And boy, that costs more than that for the IMAX ticket. You can go out and watch a hell of a pro wrestling show for $20. Door time 7 o'clock, bell time 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We know certainly that the flag boy Connor Schafer has definitely waved his flag here. He wants a shot at Mr. Vinny the Fixer. But first, let's see what he can do against Get Bundles. And you can also see, again, former ranked bantamweight boxer Emmanuel Rodriguez, the Burning Hammer. You got Valerie Verman versus Stevie Brooks. You've got Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh versus Primal Fear. We talked about the tag title match. All of it's coming to a head here at the All-American Bash. Boy, get your hot dogs, hamburgers, and ready because they are going to have quite a show here at Dog Wrestling. And Billy wants to say Connor has put in the work. Give the bro a title shot. That vegan loser can hold on to it.
Yeah,
that way. Well, you know what? He might want to
dork.
He might want to fast after that, along being vegan. So we'll have to find out. But that makes me want to get to this before I get to closing thoughts here, Connor.
Oh yeah.
If you had any final words here coming up for Mr. Get Bundles, what would they be before next Saturday?
Oh man, you got to know to get bundles, man. I am hungry. Not only is my name not on the poster, not only are non-wrestlers on that poster, I got a boxer on there. They're looking past me, you're looking past me. You can play all the golf you want. While I'm working out, I'm in the ring, I'm getting myself ready, I'm studying your tape. I'm studying your tape. So I don't care if you come all the way from OVW, I'm going to send you right back packing. I don't care if it's to get bundles because the get's going to fumble, the get's going to stumble, the get's going to crumble. And frankly, you can stumble your way back to OVW with an L because it's frankly Connor in three.
Whoa! I'll tell you what, he can drop some rhymes. He can go out there and call his shot. But very well, could we be talking about the biggest match, the biggest night of his career coming up for the flag boy, Connor Schafer? That'll take place next Saturday night at the All-American Bash presented by Dog Wrestling at the Sacred Heart Church. It is going to be on because to get bundles, well, you know what? This could be that moment where we start to think about the flag boy Connor Schafer and what he can do and what he's brought to the table. All that training, all that hard work, all that advice he's gotten from his stepdads could very well lead to him going to places. And you know what? Maybe this could be a match where Connor Schafer gets some scouting on. Everyone talks about to get bundles. Yeah, he could do this, he could do that. But if Connor Schafer walks away with a victory here, I think you're going to be seeing Connor Schafer at plenty of more places. He wrestled 6 times this past month. Well, guess what? Maybe we'll see him 9 times coming up the following month. So you just never know. That's why you have to support Connor on Instagram. Check out Dog Wrestling. Check out UWC, where he's also a part of. GTS. Check out all the great companies that he's a part of. And who knows? Maybe even TF Crew down the line and Vinny the Fixer. The clock could be counting down to your time being up. Because even if you get past Marvelous and Connor Schafer wins his match, we could be seeing you in that dog championship being defended, putting that on the line against the flag boy. And Connor Schafer could be raising that championship above his head and bringing home yet another championship to his family. We'll have to find out and much, much more. But I want to give you the floor. I want to pass the baton to you. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say? And take it away, my friend. And now you have it.
Man, just one more time, got to thank all the companies that you stated before. Got to thank you for that Connor Schafer day. I mean, got to throw in Matt Pro outrageously again. If you guys weren't here earlier, great cause.
Absolutely,
support
yes.
of autism,
Please support
phenomenal
Matt Pro
company,
Wrestling. Yep.
amazing. Please support Matt Pro. Please support everyone stated before. I mean, all these guys are phenomenal. TF Crew, Dog, even Mawa that I slightly mentioned before, they're phenomenal as well. I can't begin to thank everyone on here. Thank you. And I really appreciate you having me on and talking to me.
Absolutely. No, listen, definitely honor is all ours. Certainly when your stepdad had suggested you come on, what was I going to tell him? No, he would have told me to mow the lawn. And he would have said, yeah, I'll do the mow the lawn. But then I would have said, well, maybe then I'll just bring you on instead. But obviously, there's an Instagram page where you can check out more content from Matt Pro Wrestling. And again, in the Ocean, Monmouth County area, love that. Again, a lot of familiar faces that were on the card here. And just so many great people. And please, that's what's about, supporting wrestling companies that do it for the right reasons. And Matt Pro Wrestling is doing that. And congratulations again to Rad Dad and making history, MPW Grand Champion, and everybody else, certainly you being a part of that magical moment, which you were. And my friend, congratulations on all the success. I'm very excited to see what you and Mr. Bundles do. I look forward to watching the match, maybe talking with you about it next month and seeing where else you go on this journey. And thank you for all that you do for our sport, and can't wait to see what's ahead. And we'll see you soon.
Man, thank you. Phenomenal time. Thank you.
I appreciate that. That was the one and only Connor Schafer. You sometimes see him as a flag boy, the devil child, but what he is always is the stepson, wrestling's premier stepson, and his stepdad you know pretty well, which is Papa Bear and Rad Dad Radley Belmont. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally with all music and wrestling matters. If you're here on Sportswire Radio, you'd like to hit the sub button for us, please do. I'll be back here possibly tomorrow, but definitely Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time with Maxwell Reeves. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. Have a great night, everybody.